My RV Destinations. It's a site you can use to rate RV resorts, campgrounds, attractions, restaurants, and more. Let fellow RVers know where to go and what to do while they're in town. It's an excellent resource for all RVers. Check out myrvdestinations.com.
Want to take your camping to the next level? Then why not try glamping? Welcome to RV Glamping Adventures, where you can have a little glamour with your travel adventures. Please join your hosts, Neil and Kathy, as they share RV glamping information, RV park reviews, product recommendations, and so much more. Here's Neil and Kathy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of RV Glamping Adventures with Neil and Kathy. I'm Neil.
And I'm Kathy. Okay, guys, I'm really excited about the show we put together for today.
Yeah, I think this is good.
This is a good one.
It's different than what we've done.
Well, yeah, I think we've gotten into a little more nitty-gritty and some details of something.
And it's very enlightening.
It was for us.
Yes, it was.
So hopefully it will be for you guys, too. So recently we got contacted by Connie from mobilehomepartsstore.com, and she was looking for contributors for an article she was putting together about RV finances. And really the angle was they were looking for full-timers.
Yeah.
I said, oh, Connie, I'd love to contribute, but we're not full-timers as much as we'd like to be. We have not won the lottery yet, and so we're still working, but, we go away a lot. She's like, great. I know that about you. She was following us, which was great. And she's like, take it from your angle of what you guys do. So what this article had was basically 19 people.
There's 19 contributors, that people with different websites and blogs. Some are full-timers and 6 months or more, and some of them live in their RV all the time. So it's and what I found fascinating, because I went through and I reread the article, is it was just a whole bunch of different people. Some people that quit their jobs to go full-time. One couple lives in a 100% solar RV, and their truck drives on vegetable oil.
Yeah.
And they boondock 99% of the time. So it's all different people, and some people had the big rigs that were going around and they were retired. It was fascinating.
Yeah,
to me.
because it's just like this stuff fascinates me, just seeing how everybody does it.
Everybody does it different too.
And we all have that thing in common. We all love to RV and be out there, and
Yeah.
the freedom and all that wonderful stuff that goes along with it. But we all do it a little bit differently. So it's a really cool article. Definitely go check it out. But we thought this would be a great topic to just bring out. Like, we've talked about how we budget, how we do more for less, but we've never actually, I don't know why, because we're like an open book, but we've never actually shared with you guys the down and dirty costs and what you'd be looking at. For those of you who are doing it now that want to do it more, maybe you do it differently, write us. Let us know how you're doing. We love to hear how other people are doing this so we could share. But, it was just for us, like Neil said in the beginning, it was so enlightening because, I'm always just thinking ahead and how can we keep doing more?
You plan a little bit.
I'm kind of the planner and I'm the money gal, and Neil does pretty much it. We have a division of labor. He does the, everything else. So I deal with the planning and the house stuff and sort of the business aspect of things. So I'm always about the money, and I'm like, all right, how can I get more trips for not much more? Because we've gone from 5 days of vacation, what used to be, to this week will be 7 weeks all in total.
But this year is going to be about 7 weeks.
This week?
You said
this year.
week, but that's okay.
Yeah,
and last year we did 6 weeks.
Yeah, so we've just every year just gotten a.
And I think the year before was 5.
Yeah,
we're on a trend
every
here.
year I keep pushing that envelope a little bit more and a little bit more. So it really got us to just sit, and I don't often memories are everything to me, but as far as finances, I don't know that I often look back. What did we spend? So I thought this would be enlightening for us to just sort of sit down and go, what are we spending? I don't know if I want to know.
No, at first
is it
I was
scarier than I thought?
I was like, eek. But, I think it was really good. And also,
really good.
When we're doing this, and what we're going to talk about today, from our numbers, it all comes from a glamping perspective.
Yeah, this is how we're doing it.
I want to do a good little disclaimer.
Yeah, because the way we do it, versus what they were doing on this article, we everybody's doing something different. We're doing something totally different. So, that's what we can share with you, and certainly send you out to those resources. This article was great to see.
It was great.
It'll get your creative juices going to see how could you do it more for less. And really, isn't that the key? I don't want to blow through money. We work hard for our money.
Exactly, but
so it's important to us that we get as much as we can for every dollar we spend.
Yeah, we're all about the value.
Yeah,
I think the value of the experience, and also how many experiences can we have too.
Right. Yeah. The more the merrier, the better. I'm trying to get Maybe it's greedy. I don't know. But, before Neil and I were talking, when we were at that 5 days a year, some of it was cost because we were flying and all this, all these, trips. We'll get into a little bit later, like what would it cost versus RVing. It's tremendously different. And so there's that aspect of it. Like, it was just really expensive for us to go, so we didn't go that much.
Right.
But there's another part of us that we're kind of workaholics. We love what we do.
Well, and we try to do a staycation. So in the staycation, where we just hang around the house with the kids and do stuff around in the neighborhood, and that didn't work for us either because people would know that we were home. And hey, you mind stopping by the office for a quick adjustment?
Yeah, they'll call and we'll be like, all right.
And then one would lead to I'm working half a day, and then that's not a vacation. So I think once we started going away, that was really.
But even when we've done staycations here, we take the RV and we go somewhere else. And
now
just
that's our staycation.
Play tourist, and we just we just got to get out of the routine and all that stuff. So. Anyway, I thought it was really fun to kind of look back and really looked at last year's numbers of how much we went away and all of that stuff. But let's just start sort of we kind of pulled out some facts. Like, it's important, I think, to talk about full timing and looking at things in perspective. Mm-hmm. We've seen a few different things, and this is important for us because someday we do want to be full timing. So
at
we're
least
always
6 months out of the year.
Yeah. We always are like, well, how do people do it? Some work while they're gone. Some have mobile offices. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different ways people were doing it. So that's important to research first. And that was something I thought was a little eye-opening, too. So we were seeing some numbers. Let's talk about some numbers we saw, like monthly, yearly averages.
Right. So people are saying, according to the article, so I'm actually going to go right off of their numbers. But
I think they're pretty real.
I think so, too.
I've seen other articles, but it's sort of they're all the same.
Well, of the 19 people or 19 groups of people that were surveyed, because a lot of these are multiple people, they're not just one guy by himself. Of the 19 surveyed, they were saying that they spend, on average, for months, and I really commend these people because a lot of them are really putting out actual their numbers. They were saying, "This is what I spend. Look at my budget. This is what it is."
Yeah,
and money's. For a lot of people, it's a very private thing, and I think that was very, very bold and daring and brave and really cool too that they put it out there.
Because then you can get a really realistic taste of all right, what do we need to do?
This is what we do. But on average, for the monthly one, for the month, they would spend $21.70.29. I'm being exact.
Yeah, it was anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 a month they were needing to have to make their situations work. So basically, you take an average in there. Now, we would be probably on the higher end of that at this point with more people. But, that was, I think that's for average. And I've seen those kind of numbers with other bloggers and all of that, of, what they're spending. And you got to think about, what does that all encompass? Are you going to have an RV payment? Health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We're all having to spend for health insurance. And those costs, they're astronomical. So you got to think about, and there was some great advice on there. I've even seen, I love looking at Gone with the Winds. They're a favorite of, I think, everybody. Now they're boating, by the way. It's very cool. They've gone from RVing to boating. But they go through a broker that there was actually insurance for RVers. So it's interesting to find
health insurance for
health
RVs?
Insurance and
cool.
regular insurance. And they were based, I think their home quote unquote is out of Texas, finding the right states. There's so much to think about when you're coming up with for me it's about bringing the cost down as much as possible.
Exactly.
So you got to think about what, sit down and write down what would your budget be. Dental, health insurance, RV payment or not. Some people don't have one because they paid it off or they buy an older model and
right. And some people just go out, their whole goal is to go out and be as financially independent as possible, which I think is very commendable. If you can do that.
It's freedom, you know, and it's the whole tiny house movement, really.
Totally, yeah. And
it's just living your life, and it's about quality and not quantity. And so, it's not about the stuff. I mean, I always say, I've sort of that joke, I've got some meme on Facebook I did that, it's about choose moments, not things. And it's like, I know an RV's a thing, but it creates moments. And that's the mentality, I think, of RVers.
And I think if when you're talking, this doesn't include us right now, but the full-timers, once you get rid of your apartment costs or your expenses on your house or whatever, if you had a mortgage or whatever, and you just really go to an RV, you actually probably save money being in your RV, living around and traveling.
I think having an RV, if you're, what we've gotten into is more of, what you'd be paying maybe in rent somewhere.
Right.
So, you've got to think about those kinds of costs, like what you could afford. So they were looking, again, the $1,000 to $3,000 a month range.
Yeah.
So yearly averages were somewhere around like 26-ish thousand.
Yeah, 26,000.
You would need to live, according to what people, like how much they're telling. I don't know if they're including all those extra things. Like,
and this is taken an average of 19 different groups of people.
A lot of people also talk about when they're full-timing, they're talking about making sure you got like your nest egg in there. Some people want to have 20,000 in the bank. Others want to have 40,000 in the bank. I think it's really important to have, and there was that sort of average of, I think there was an average of how much should we save before full-timing, 39,600.
Yeah.
And that's pretty high. Like some people, it's like, how could I even come up with that? So again, it's about your needs.
Some people had recommended that they suggest that you should have 6 months of money in your bank or whatever it's going to cost you to live for 6 months. Mm-hmm. So that way you have enough that if anything happens, or say your goal is to work camp or look for work or blog or something, and say that's not working out for you, at least you have money in the bank that's going to cover your expenses, and then you have a 6 month vacation.
That little nest egg, the safety net, whatever, that you can fall back on, because some people don't want to work when they go.
Right.
Others, like that'll just offset your cost if you can work camp or whatever you want to do when you get out there. So it was just, again, interesting to see what everybody's doing, and a lot of jobs are mobile now, and
a lot of them are.
On
Ours
the internet.
isn't. So
Ours is not.
Ours is not.
But we're working on that.
Yes,
We're working
yes.
on some different ideas. It also touched on, and I've seen this in other articles too, about maintenance costs. And that's something you really have to, in that whole thought of like per month, what am I spending? And the averages were about, what did you see? About $117 a month. So yearly was about $1,400-ish, give or take. And, there's a few things to think about with that.
And that was like oil changes and regular maintenance stuff. And for some people, it's also taking into warranty programs that they had, and the deductible on the warranty program,
Yeah, so for us, we thought, let's take a look at seriously, we have not sat down and looked at what have we spent every year. And the costs have gone up because we vacation more. So we took, last year for us was sort of, this year's going to be the Cadillac year thus far, because we've done another week. But last year was a big one for us, that we had 6 weeks. So 42 days we looked at.
And we took with us 5 to 6 people a trip.
Right. So you've got to think about that with size and numbers. So it's all relative, guys. Yes. It's all relative. But basically, what we got thinking about was sort of what are the monthly expenses for us. So we broke it down to like what I do keep track of our finances because I'm the money gal.
Yeah.
So I pulled out all the numbers, and then we just sort of divided by 42, and we came up with like what we were spending, per day. And we were really pleasantly surprised.
It was pretty good.
We were looking at, well, first and foremost, and we've talked about this before, is how, because we always have taken it from the angle of saving money. Mm-hmm. So that means for us budgeting and planning.
But then what I'm thinking too is, I was listening to your beautiful words and I got caught up.
I thought you were glazing over.
It was just a little bit.
Money.
I'm like, the money's going, and I'm thinking.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
But we also want to take. I thought about this while I'm listening to you, is we're going through budgeting and planning, but these are also taking into consideration like what we spend.
Yeah.
Is park tickets and dinners and lots of fun stuff, because we're doing it again, glamping.
It's hotel on wheels. So for our angle, like how we broke down things, we're gonna explain this to you guys. It's just a big it's a big subject. It's a big topic.
It's a huge topic.
So we're gonna try to break it down a little bit. But what we try to do first and foremost for me is in the planning. Where I was going with that was, we basically, and I brought this up in the article, 'cause it's just a different way of thinking as we shifted our money and how we do finances. Because I'm like I said, I'm the accountant.
She's the
for
money
the business.
person.
So I look at trends and numbers and what we need to spend when and all that.
Yeah.
And it was one year I shifted the money. I did, and it's just simple, guys, and it sounds kind of crazy, but we had 4 kids to buy for Christmas. Okay, we celebrate the holidays. And I noticed that the great sales were out in October.
Yes.
And then I noticed when it was Black Friday and leading up to the holidays, and we spend probably about $2,000 on Christmas for all the kids and everything.
Easy, yeah.
Easy. So I was just noticing, what? I could get these deals now And then that frees me up, and literally, and then I just stop shopping. So
Yep.
I finished my holiday shopping in October.
Yeah.
And I've done it now since 2008.
Easily before Halloween.
Easily.
Like,
And I'm telling you guys, between end of summer and you just sort of get onto this
Yeah.
new way of spending, and then you got to stop because, they try to lure you in with all these specials and deals. But it comes a point, A, we don't need anything. Most of the
Right.
kids want money at this point, but we
Yep.
even put that aside. Everything is done by October. What that does for us is it shifts our whole budget schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm freed up between November and on to start thinking about
Trips.
next year's trips.
Yeah.
So I'm saving. Neil and I are planning.
Yeah.
We're booking. And I think when you book early, there's always savings. We've even had Black Friday specials pop up.
that was kind of cool. It was like almost like a buy one get one, and I don't think they did it this year, but it was kind of.
But we
neat.
get them from, when we've gone to like Destin, Florida, Destin
Yeah.
West RV Resort. Whenever we've gone anywhere, we get on their
email list.
email
Yeah.
list,
Yep.
and we get their specials.
Yep.
We get like Black Friday; they had early bird, so because they want to like book up for next year. And I started noticing, hey, Neil, this is a good time.
Mm-hmm.
November through January, people are sending us offers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's lock in these prices. They don't even want the money down.
No,
they want
just, no.
like the whole amount. They're
Yeah.
looking for $50 to $100 down.
Right.
But you lock in those prices. They're
Mm-hmm.
typically cheaper than even the previous year prices because they want to lock in people for the next year. So there's that. We also have Good Sam AAA. We get those deals as well.
Well, and also for us though, we lock in early enough because I don't know. We talked about this. There are somewhere around 400,000 more units on the road now.
Right.
More people are RVing.
It's
and
gone
there's-
up in the last couple years. Our mobile home sales has gone up over 100%.
Yeah.
So there are more people and probably
More people, and still the same amount of spaces, if you
Yeah.
would. So
RV parks.
Yeah, so you're looking at to try to find a place sometimes can become kind of tough.
Yeah.
And especially if you wait last minute, forget it. You're not going to find a place. You might. We've never been able to do that. I'm thinking Memorial Day.
Yeah, we're
That-
talking more holidays. Like you got to book that stuff. I'm sorry for some of these
Yeah.
places by January, February. We were supposed to be going away for Memorial Day this year, but something came up for our daughter, so we sadly had to cancel. But of course, we need to go to our daughter's thing.
Right.
And we're like, well, let's try to go somewhere local. And this is a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And these people had just laughed at us.
Yeah.
They're like,
One
no,
lady's like,
these-
I'd love to help
That's
you,
so
but are
funny.
you nuts?
Yeah, we're like, can you put
Yeah.
us on a list? So it kind of it serves two purposes. We lock into the places we want to
Absolutely.
get,
And we get our
There's
spots.
there's always a cancellation policy. So it's not a big risk.
No.
And then you get the spots you want, and you're saving money because you're getting these early birds. So this whole shift of this is it's a big subject. Like I said, there's a whole paradigm shift
Absolutely,
of budgeting.
yeah.
So done in October, moving on after into the fall and winter months. We're loading up on deals for the next year. People say, "How do you do it?" That's like, how do you guys go vacation so much? Like this.
Oh, yeah.
And we have one income, so we're not rich. We're like middle class America guys.
We're normal.
And we can do so much more for much less RVing. I mean, that in itself. So that was like a big angle for me. And when you're thinking about RVing more, that's huge. And you've got to think about those kinds of things. And of course, if you're military, get the discounts, guys.
Good Sam
there's
discounts.
Good Sam, and like I said, plan early. So we broke down the budget.
Yes.
Okay, so we just looked at last year's and we teased out as much as we could and added, we kind of overdid the numbers probably because some things got lost into, maybe it was in home.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I mean, because, we got groceries before we go and those kinds of things. So we tried to incorporate as much as we could into all of that. So we broke down, here's basically our budget.
Okay. So for the 42 days that we went away last year, we averaged a park night for us. And again, we usually do premium and because of the size of our unit.
Yeah, we are 38, 40 feet long with
So-
slides. So, when we go somewhere, we're looking for a resort.
We're looking for, and again, we're glamping. So we're going from the glamping experience. We spend probably about $100 a night.
And that's on average. It
On
could
average.
be 50, it
Yeah.
could be 110. To stay at Disney is on the upper end.
125, something like that.
Yeah, so in that, it varies. So we thought we'd average it at about
Yeah.
$100 a night. So that comes to, with 42 nights out, $4,200. Okay?
That's pretty good.
Dinners, miscellaneous, and so forth. We looked at everything we spent. Now we do a lot of cooking, so where you're going to save money is, I mean, groceries are cheaper than going out to eat, but I also like to go out to eat.
Exactly.
I don't want to have to do all the cooking. As much
And
as
you
you're
know-
great at barbecuing.
Well, that's my only thing. And I also think that, it's your vacation.
So, and yeah, we like to go out.
It's
and,
your vacation, too.
Getting out there and seeing where people go eat. And one of the things we love to do, I think we mentioned last week's show, when we go somewhere, first the people we talk to when you're checking in, we're like, all right, guys, you tell us where to go. We
Talk
like
to
to
the
stay
locals.
off there's some touristy things we go do, yes.
Sure.
But where do the locals eat? Where do the locals suggest we go? Those are typically, if you're staying away from the tourist traps, you're going to find cheaper and
Yeah.
I think better
Yeah.
experiences, meals, whatever, so that's going to save you money too. But we looked at last year and we were guessing, what do we have, about $3,500
Yes.
for all the miscellaneous park.
And that includes park tickets and
tickets.
admissions to different things. Like we went to like the aquariums and things like that.
We rented a car when we were in Destin. We rented a truck for a few days.
Yep.
So that included everything. So that's $3,500. Now we looked at the gas price all total, and we had a good year last year.
Last year,
Another
the
good-
gas prices
I think
were
better
low.
year this year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the gas price.
The gas price we spent. I mean, again, we're going from New York down to Florida and everywhere in between. We're looking basically. We spent about $1,400 total.
Last year.
Which was great because I think we averaged, if I'm doing correctly, about $2.50 a gallon, and this year's even better.
I know.
So
See, ka-ching, just saving money.
yeah.
Now,
And put that in comparison to airplane tickets.
it's,
I mean,
where could you send 6 people? And this is for how many different trips? 42 days.
42
worth
days
trips.
of trips. Yeah.
For a what flight could you spend $1,400?
Exactly.
I don't think. I mean, you can't even
You-
add it
no,
up.
no.
And even when one thing Neil and I were talking when we were coming up with all this budget stuff was even a few years ago when it was $3 and $4 a gallon some places. It's all relative to the cost of flying. If gas is higher, cost of flying is higher.
Exactly.
So to us, it was still a savings. Even though it was probably double that a few years ago.
Oh, yeah,
it
there's
was still
times-
cheaper than flying. Is the way we looked at it.
There's times where I used to go to a gas station and fill up, and it was $3.99 a gallon, and still it was. We'd come home and say, well, we spent $1,500 on that trip for gas,
Yeah.
and yet to fly 6 of us down, we couldn't have spent that. It would have been way more. We would have been like $400 or $500 per person, so we would have spent like $3,000. So
Exactly. So again, it's all really relative. Now we were going to bring up the RV loan thing. You got to look at that as to us, it's an investment, and really if somebody were to say, oh, what kind of loan payment should I? Well, that is so.
That's a
individual.
personal choice.
That's a personal choice.
that's what number's good for you.
Yeah, for us, we really think about the investment that it brings, the return on it. It's our hotel, our restaurant, and our plane all in one. So you have to think about what is right for you. And, the thing for me that was an incentive of having this payment every month is you get the mortgage interest write-off. It's a second home. As long as there's a toilet,
Yep.
look it up on the IRS laws, you get to write off that percentage off the mortgage interest. So that's a great incentive.
That's a great incentive. And going back to that article that we read that we were talking about in the beginning, there's a lot of people were saying too that some paid cash for what they have.
Yeah. So again, it's so
It's
individual.
personal, yeah.
Some people maybe got an older model, refurbished it.
Yeah.
They didn't want the payment.
Some
For
people had the
us-
$300,000 RV.
Yeah, we don't
Some
have
did,
that.
Yeah, but that's what some people. That's
There's
what's
a happy
comfortable-
medium.
comfortable
Yeah, you've
for
got to
them.
really figure out. You've got to sit down and look at your budget and see what you can afford every month. So that's something I just felt like I kind of have to leave that really vague because everybody's so different.
That's personal.
That's a personal matter.
Not just from us. That's just a personal choice.
Yeah, you got to know what you're comfortable with and what you can
Absolutely.
afford every month because you don't want the repo man coming out to find you on some wonderful trip
no.
somewhere and taking away your home and your whole vacation.
That's a buzzkill.
Totally. So that's something you really have to think about. People are like, oh, what should for the first one? What should I get into? You really got to sit down and think
Yeah.
about what works for you guys.
And just to go, some
Yeah.
people might say like, I want to go into a Class A diesel for my first one. And some people, if they're going to go for long trips like this, they might be totally happy and with an Airstream or a travel trailer.
Right.
That might work. So
It's a personal
It's a
choice.
total-
Maybe you want a travel trailer, maybe you want a fifth wheel. It's,
Yeah.
we love our Class A's. We started in a C, so I feel like we kind of eased into it, and then we grew out of that one,
Yeah.
and that had its own journey in itself of where we got to where we are today, and that we're looking at diesels next. So we can, we just, there's a lot of good reasons for that.
Yeah.
But we're doing a lot of investigating and thinking about what's good and what's the best thing next for us.
And that's what you have to do too when you're looking at how much you want to
Exactly.
spend. You have to look at what's good and what's best for you, and you have to realize too that there's a chance if this is the first time you're doing it, you're going to get a new one. You're going to move up. You're going to change at some point. So what's a good price point for you? You know?
Like
What
maybe you
makes
want
sense?
to ease into it like we did and got comfortable in that. So having that payment every month, you're just used to it now. Like
Yeah, it doesn't
we've had
bother
to pay this extra RV payment depending on what we've had for 8 years,
Yeah.
and it's like, I don't know, it's just we're just sort of used to it. It's just like how you have to pay your water bill. Like it's more, but you're just it's part of what you have to make every month. So
Exactly.
it becomes normal. I'm sure thinking back on our feelings to that, like that was kind of a big pill to swallow in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
But then you just, you get the advantages of the RVing, and who cares? It's just so worth the payment every
I
month.
mean, not
For
to
us.
gush about this, but at least for us, the quality of life that changes,
It's changed.
it's totally.
I wouldn't
there's
call
no
us.
price.
We're workaholics still when we're not traveling, but we work hard so we can play hard. That's
Exactly.
our motto. We've said it to you
Exactly.
guys before. So another thing that we do is we have the extended warranty.
And the extended warranty is great. Our particular one is, it's bumper to bumper kind of thing. We go through Good Sam, and it comes up to be about $1,100 a month or a year.
A month.
Oh my God, we're nuts.
Jeez.
$1,100
A
a
year.
year, and we actually have our plan specifically has a $250 deductible. So it's great for the way we think about it. And Kathy and I have talked about this a lot. Is we don't want to get stuck with say, hey, by the way, here's a $5,000 bill. I'd rather pay the $250 and then a little bit a
And
month.
there's two frames of thought for that. We've met other RVers who they don't want to pay the extra warranty, and they actually literally put away a couple $100 every month.
Yeah.
That's their sort of rainy day if something breaks fund.
Yeah.
Because and it's a risk either way. I would rather, my mentality, and I know you and I think the same way,
Mm-hmm.
we would rather pay a little bit every month and not get like that sock in the
Slammed.
stomach later of like,
Exactly.
you owe us $11,000. I'd rather personally have a $250 deductible, end of story.
Exactly.
But other people, I know, I'm thinking of our friend Bill. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, no way am I giving them my money, because like there's some years you might not use it, and think of like, to him that's like throwing away money. I'm just not a big risk taker like that, and I just feel better. And can I really trust myself that I'm going to put away that much every month?
and these
that
things-
might be a great vacation fund.
They do break. That's the thing.
They do. Their
If you're going to
house is
have
on
one,
wheels.
if you go and you buy a new one, you're guaranteed that the new one's going to have a couple of times in the shop in the first 3-4 months of
Well,
using
and
it.
in the first year having it, you're going to have it's covered.
It's
anyway.
covered under warranty, but you're gonna be using it. There's gonna be things that break.
And
it's
that's,
just what
that'll
it is.
give you a taste of like, this is what it is,
This is
guys.
what it is.
And you got to know that going into it, like stuff breaks.
Yeah.
And some things you can fix. We are not handy like that.
No.
I know one couple who he can fix stuff.
He fixes everything, and he does
that's
a great job at it.
great, but
Yeah.
that's not something we are good at, nor should we touch certain things.
I don't
will
feel
break it
comfortable.
worse.
I don't feel comfortable
So
with
we're
that.
just better off getting the warranty. So that's about $1,100 a year.
Yeah.
We also have the insurance payment. Per year we're looking at about $1,700.
Yeah, and we go through again. Full disclosure, we go through like a Good Sam. It's national in general, but one thing that we
They
got
accept it everywhere.
they're accepted. Yeah, I mean it's it's car insurance basically for RVs. But the thing is that I liked about this particular program, and Kathy and I talked about this quite a bit going into it. They have RV replacement. So God forbid something big happens, you're involved in some sort of catastrophic accident, and your RV is a total loss or something like that. You're not out all of the money. They will either replace it with a model similar to your date or the newer one that's coming.
Yeah, on that
So-
angle, guys, we didn't know that for the first few years. We just had insurance.
We just had
But
insurance.
it wasn't replacement costs.
No.
And please call your insurance companies and say, do I have full replacement?
That's a big one.
Because we didn't.
No.
And there's a lot that don't. So please call.
I think if you go through most of your standard insurance companies, and I don't want to name them, but standard insurance companies that you see commercials for on TV, they don't often
They
have.
don't offer that. They might
No,
have
we were
RV
surprised.
insurance, but they don't offer the full replacement. They just
Correct.
don't talk about that.
Right.
That's just something you got to know to ask. So make sure you call, and you need to get that. I think it's really important that these things are not cheap. So
No.
if you have an accident, God forbid, and it's totaled, frames bent, the whole, I don't know. you need to be able to be safe. You need to know that you're
have
covered,
everything covered,
and you can get into another one, and you're not left with some payment and no RV. That would be horrible.
That's horrible.
I mean, if you get out of alive, it's a miracle, first of all, and
Yes.
thank goodness for that. But then, you've lost your home,
Right.
and you've got to be able to replace it and not have the other one. Like, I just can't even, that's just catastrophic.
Couldn't
in
even
itself.
imagine.
All right, so that we thought about, and then miscellaneous, just repairs, that kind of thing. Beyond maintenance, we just thought $800 a year was sort of a safe thing.
I mean, one year we left our house batteries in, and it was like minus
During the
20
winter.
degrees
During the winter.
We left our house batteries. Yeah, I wasn't specific, was I?
No.
We left our house batteries in. It was minus 20, and they froze and cracked. So that cost us alone $600 just to replace those.
That was an ouch.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore. We take them out. But
Yeah, that wasn't covered on the warranty.
but-
That was an ouch.
maintenance, we also I get the oil change. We get the generator oil change. There's a lot of stuff we do. We have them check our
And then,
tires.
we like to, we had to buy a new mat for outside this
Sure,
year. We
yeah.
got new chairs last year. New bedding every couple of years because they get worn. Towels, you got to think about those extra costs too because it's a home. So we keep everything in there that it's self-sufficient, self-sustaining. So things need updating or replacing, what have you. So there's those costs too. So what are we looking at a year then, Neil?
Well, the grand total for 1 year
Brace yourself, guys.
of RVing for our specific situation, 42 days,
5 to 6 people.
5 to 6 people, 6 weeks. It costs us $12,500.
Okay, now that sounds atrocious.
That sounds huge.
And at first I kind of was like, whoa.
Well,
But that was for 42 days.
yes.
And here's the thing. We broke that down. We divided that by 42 days. That broke down to $300 a day.
Yeah.
And that was a whole different, I went from oh to whoa.
Yeah, it was totally different.
I was thinking, that's not bad for up to 6 people. Food, everything. Insurance, everything.
You're doing-
$300 a day.
You're doing Disney, you're doing beaches, you're doing,
This is food, this is gas, the
Boardwalks
whole
and all
thing.
sorts of stuff,
I,
yeah.
I don't know, guys, where you could go for $300 a day. That's what it used to cost us for a moderate hotel room in some places, and that's it.
we went to Toronto that time and
I know.
spent, and for the 6 of us, and it was $375.
So that made us go, we should go away more.
Exactly. So this year, we're doing 7 weeks.
So that was 42 days, $300 a day last year, guys. Now let me just put this also in perspective, that $12,500 total. When I was calling around, when we're talking back in 2007-8, when I'm looking at, we'd already looked at timeshares, this, that, and the other. We're like, wow, what if we took a really big trip, once a year, we took some big trip. So once a year, 5 to 7 days, to maybe go to an all-inclusive resort, fly somewhere, maybe take a Disney cruise. Guys, for 6 of us, that was going to be $10,000 to $16,000 for a week. And we got 6 weeks out of it for that.
And we have
Crazy.
we can go wherever we want too. Now,
Right.
so we're not limited to just the one trip a year or just the one timeshare.
We have so much flexibility.
We go anywhere. We've gone from Prince Edward Island to Florida. We're plans on going super out west. We've gone a little out west.
Yeah, we've got about midway. We're getting there. But it really put that in perspective for us. And keep in mind, this is for up to 6 people. So for us, that was I didn't know that. To bring it down per day, that was astonishing. And
It was amazing.
I think it's really great. So for more money-saving ideas, so you can stretch the dollar even further, because, again, for us, it's all about more for less. Go back and check out my blogs. I've got lots of ideas down there of what we've done to save money and, just extended our vacation time and had a great time together.
Yeah, we've been having a great experience putting all this together, and thanks for listening to the show,
Yeah,
guys.
we love sharing this with you guys. We'd love to hear back from you.
This was really enlightening for me, by the way.
It was. This was a fun show.
So if you want to get in touch with us, please do at RV Glamping Adventures at gmail.com. You can check us out on Facebook at RV Glamping Adventures. On
Hey
Twitter.
guys, let me just add in there, we're hitting 10,000 on Facebook. I'm really excited. So share.
And thank you.
Thank you so much.
You can also check us out on Twitter at RV Glampers. At RV Glampers.
At RV Glampers.
We're on Instagram.
RV Glampers.
You can check us out on YouTube. And we have
We got lots of stuff on YouTube.
You can listen to the show on YouTube. And we've got some great product reviews and some great videos.
Yeah, just some videos of some of our
Some are goofy, but they're fun.
Yeah, they're just fun. So check it out.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
See you next week. Colton RV creates fantastic memories that will change your life forever. Have you dreamed of getting into glamping in your own RV? Colton RV can help you take that step into the future with a new or used RV. Talk with a Colton RV team member online, by phone, or in person and see hundreds of RVs, from tent trailers to motorhomes and everything in between. It's all about great selection, unequaled service, and low prices. Open late at 2 convenient locations, one in Tonawanda and one in Orchard Park, New York. Now is the time to see the future at Colton RV.